That's what God's saying right here to his people in Genesis 1. No, you're worthy not because of what you do, but because of who made you, because of who I am. Trust me that I know what I'm doing more than you. It's the story you're in. Trust that everything I'm using is for your good. We are really excited because got some new things coming. I think I may call this the next season.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe season 7 of Men Are Forged.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of change. Thank y'all for whoever stayed with us. You know, Mom, appreciate it.
Yeah, Mom. It's
Yeah.
cool. What? End of December.
Yeah.
2020. This whole really like
So-
figuring out.
Yeah. I think we've done it like 22, 23 episodes, which is like OG NBC.
Yeah.
Thursday night.
Yeah.
Like the normal sitcom.
And really what that means is I got 23 free one-on-one sessions with you. You just don't get it yet, man.
But the new thing we're doing is I have, you know, one day this hit me in the face, and probably for too many people around me thought, well, duh, that's obvious. Is how do I continue to kind of, I'm trying to think of a better word than synergize. Synergize. I feel like I'm George W. Bush. Synergy. Synergizing. That's my impression of my hands while I did George W.
I was about to say, are you
both at the same time. But yeah, how do you really make everything I'm doing kind of be in correlation where it's really is like, how do I help these men in their 20s and 30s? Like, how do I? Yeah. And so I will lead a weekly Bible study, and this fall, taking a group of men through on Tuesday mornings and Thursday mornings through the book of Genesis. 16 weeks. There's so much content, so much that we have to learn from the book of Genesis. I just took a group of guys through Galatians, and a lot of what Paul talked about was, Keller kind of pointed this out, is a lot of his frustration with these people that were kind of leading the Galatians astray was you were using the law of Moses to put them under the law. Where Paul saw the law of Moses, meaning the book of Genesis, Exodus, right, as the stories that lead us to Christ.
Yeah.
It's so powerful about the book of Genesis. I'm really excited, and we're going to talk about Genesis 1 today. But all right, so using this podcast, we'll kind of create teasers. We'll help you kind of understand more of the story, but also help you bring some application and reflection. But you'll get the meat in the groups. If you're part of the study now, you'll get most of the meat, but hopefully you're learning from these discussions to help you in the group, as well as, you know, you can refer a friend. And also eventually, you know, hopefully that's what, you know, Jesus called us, go make disciples. Hopefully I'm encouraging you men to then lead a group of other men to go through this stuff. And it's really empowering. So, lots of fun and content that I'm really excited about. So I've kind of like, all right, what's the story? So we'll kind of open up the story a little bit. You ready to start? You ready to get this going?
Let there be light.
Let there be light, baby. So heat the metal. The story, yeah, that's kind of what I'm talking about. We're gonna do the 4 kind of rhythms of going through the Men Are Forged content is like heat the metal. Let's embrace the hammer. Let's submit to the forge, and then let's sharpen that edge.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Those are the kind of the 4 rhythms that I want. Even in one-on-one sessions, I want to get to some level of any one of those 4. But, you know, today we're going to kind of heat the metal and hopefully get to the reflection piece or even the action step. So let's start with the story. So I think when you read Genesis 1, before you even start, we always observe the text. One is, all right, let's think, who is the audience?
Mm-hmm.
If you're reading just 1, who's the audience? Because it's really strange how different it is from the rest of the book. It's you know, a lot of it's poetry.
And Moses, right?
Yep. So Moses wrote the first 5 books of the Bible: Genesis, Exodus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Leviticus.
Okay.
Leviticus. Sorry, that's out of order, but those are the 5. That is the Torah. So, as much as we as believers talk about the Bible, right? That's Old Testament, New Testament. They would say their Bible is the Torah.
Yeah.
They know the stories of Judges, Samuel, the prophets. Jesus talked about the law and the prophets. All those. So they read the 39 books of the Old Testament, Psalms, Proverbs, but what they hold their religion to is the Torah, the first 5. So they would hold that above the other.
Yeah.
Do my math in my head. 34 books. So it's interesting. It's really, they would say those 34 point to the 5.
Okay.
Anyway, so one is, who's the audience? Who is God speaking to Moses for who? Right. And then 2, what are the repeated phrases? Because that's probably one of the bigger ones, right? So Bo, right off the bat, who do you think is who's the audience?
It's got to be, well, it's the Jewish people, right?
Yeah.
So is it the Jewish people in Egypt?
So, okay. So that's where we're starting. They have left Egypt.
Okay, so they've left.
Right? And these people have come out of what? In Egypt. Slavery. 400 years.
Yeah.
So we think of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? This has been 400 years past the son of Jacob, Joseph, right? 400 years, man. So they don't know God.
Wait,
400 years from when? Joseph?
Okay, so
Yes.
for Joseph.
So you think about the end of Genesis, the beginning of Exodus is like
Okay.
another 400 years.
Okay.
Think about that.
Yeah, that's great.
That's at least what, 6, 7 generations, if not more.
Yeah.
You know.
So this is what
I mean. From our perspective, this is 150 years before.
Yeah, 250 years.
Yeah.
Think about it. Like, this is like before even Washington. This is Jamestown.
Yeah.
Think about Jamestown, 1620.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That is literally 400 years ago.
Right.
Isn't that nuts? Yeah. So there's a lot of different mentality, different focus, different priorities, what your worth is based on, etc. Think you got to.
Well, yeah, those people, it's all they knew, right? So like how all we know is living in the U.S. in the same way. That's all they knew. So bringing a new concept or new idea was probably met with a lot of resistance, right?
Yeah. Well, and you also think, so literally your life, your worth is continually based off of making, building, stacking bricks.
Yeah. Right.
Do you think about the pyramids? How great the pyramids? That's a lot were built probably before. They're still figuring out how old those things are. But I would say, yeah, right. Oh gosh, Lord help me. Oh man, we're gonna have an aliens episode. But like, so they're building, and you also think they're building stuff. A lot of the Egyptians build these big stuff in the image of the Pharaoh.
Yeah.
Think about that in context. So that's that. You got to have that context when you're reading Genesis 1. Also, like, you think about the Sphinx and the. I think when we read Genesis 1, read any parts of the Bible, we gotta accept some level of mystery, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is God of the unknown. He is calling us closer through mystery. I think that's 100%.
Yeah, I mean,
like you're right. Just to put one comment on that. I mean, when I go back and read this stuff or talk about this stuff, it's like, okay, just give yourself freedom to not really understand it fully, because it's not meant to be understood, maybe, so give yourself some grace.
Because I think people do get hung up of like, why Genesis 1 is a poem, why isn't like that structured form?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're getting to, like, what are the repeated phrases or rhythms of Genesis 1, and why did they do that, right? So what do we okay, what do you remember what some of the repeated phrases are in Genesis 1?
Mm-hmm. It is good.
It is good. That's one. After he met each day, and then he would say evening and then morning, and then God saw that it was good.
Okay.
Right? So those are repeated phrases. Why?
Yeah.
So one, why does he have repeated phrases? I mean, there's I don't want to get in today, and maybe in our groups we'll get into that, but the actual 7 days versus the literal 7 days versus metaphorically. It's like, hey, I don't know. How about that? We know the earth is old. How about that?
Yeah.
So, it is wild. There are churches split over that. But anyway, but we're thinking, why would God give this message to Moses for the first thing these people read, or these first people's story that they hear from God is this, and they hear it that way?
That's a really interesting thought. Because, this would have been the first content ever for them.
When you think of something that has a rhythm, what does that help you do?
Repeat.
Memorize it, right? We forget. So we're so in our Western world. So this is another thing, is when we read Genesis, we have to get out of our Western thought and get in the Eastern thought, because it's just completely different.
Yeah.
I was like, I lived in Israel for like a few months, and it's hilarious. It's like they love the West. They love consuming stuff of the West, but they're so Eastern.
Yeah.
Like, it's hilarious. Like, I was helping instruct people how to basically lead rope courses. And when you got 40 people in the air, what I tell you is mandatory. On Eastern thought, most everything's just kind of relative. I don't have to tie it that way. It's like, when people are 40 in the air, you have to tie how I say it. Right? But that's like a little bit of Eastern. It's more relational. It's more present. Time is more of a concept. Where in the West, it's like, especially in America, like like if you're 5 minutes, you're here 5 minutes over there, you are late.
Yeah.
Where there, it's like be an hour late. And it's like, oh, I was going to get here.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, that's just to kind of give y'all a glimpse of like just different perspective, and it's so much deeper. Like, so one is, I especially if we're in the first one, is I want you to think about is, guys listening, is we read the Bible as Westerners of give me what I need. Give me the information so then I can apply it.
Yeah.
I can get something out of it. I can then use it.
You tell me what
to do.
Right. Yeah. Tell me where to jump. Give me set the bar so I can jump. Where what Easterner is like, let's just continue to tell the story, and the more we tell it, the more we discover. It's living in that discovery. It's like this, like chewing on the meat. Right? It's like, hey, I got to kind of find the bones a little bit, spit them out, and continue to chew them. It's like that. It's that process of thinking. It's like they are more about discovery than information.
Okay.
So thinking that way. So anyway, I feel like I've read this Genesis once thousands of times since I was a kid, right? And I was like, man, wow, there's so much things. So one, let's think about that. So one is Westerns we take for granted. The printing press that came around in the 1600s, and we probably, all of us, even if you grew up in a non-Christian, you probably had a Bible in your house. I think I grew up with 5 or 6 in the house, right? I think I've got 3 or 4 in this room. But they didn't have that. They had, maybe some scrolls Moses wrote down on. He had the tablets, whatever, that were probably tucked away somewhere. So you had to do it, relationally.
Yeah.
You had to do it over the campfire.
Yeah.
You had to do it, they're in the desert talking about it. Like, how do I remember this stuff? So when there's a rhythm to it, it's like God wanting you to remember.
Interesting.
Isn't that interesting to think about?
Right.
So much of this was passed down. Like, and a lot of it, you think about, if we jump even, Moses was, gosh, I can't remember exactly when Moses, I think he was like 3,500 BC. No, was he 500 years before David? David was like 3,000 BC. Anyway, that may be not right. I'm sorry. My numbers are getting thrown off today. But anyway, it wasn't really until Daniel, thousands of years later in Babylon, that he actually started writing a lot of this down, where there was multiple copies.
Okay.
So that's another. So I'm throwing a lot at you. I'm trying not to do this every week, but there's so much
that's
the first
crazy
one.
Time to talk about it because they weren't staring at their phones.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well,
watching Netflix.
They're walking everywhere, right?
And you can't
walk and listen to a podcast or like listen to music.
Yeah.
You got to talk about something.
So we think about, all right, let's back up. All right, you've got a 400-year slaves, worth and values based off of building bricks.
Yeah.
That's You live and die off that. If you can't do that, then you're dead.
Yeah.
Literally dead. You're you're not just dead to me, you're dead. All right. And then 2, we have some repeated phrases connected to that. First, so the obvious one, well, not obvious one, because it took me years to hear until someone explained it to me. Why was it when God said, and there was evening and there was morning? As Westerners, when does the day start?
6 a.m.
6 a.m. when the sun comes up, when there's morning.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Think about that. So he put evening and morning. In the Jewish tradition, when does the Sabbath start?
Sundown.
Sundown on Friday. So the Shabbat is right. It's that their day of rest is Saturday, and it starts Friday evening at sundown.
Yeah.
That's when it starts. Why would that? Why does that make sense? Why would that have anything to do with anything?
I don't know.
You start your day from stopping, from rest. Evening is when especially when you think of an agricultural community, culture, like sun goes down, you stop working.
Yeah.
You start your day from that. You don't work towards that. Like we as a Westerners, I grind it out and then I just done. Day's done. Right? The day ends in the evening. No, the day starts in the evening. Interesting. That's when I stop, reflect, say grace, say thank you for my many blessings. Right? Start my day from rest. What does that have to do with my identity and performance? Does that have anything to do with my identity and performance, Bo? No. I think it has everything to do.
Oh, yeah.
Think about that. What do we work for our performance, for our identity. Yeah. What I do, my effort, what value I have to bring, that is my identity. By how I perform, right?
Yeah.
So you have a culture 400 years grained in your brain of my value is only about what I can do building bricks.
Yeah.
Now I have a God who's telling me start from rest of that place. Think about that. Okay. And then we go to the next repeated phrase. And God saw that it was good.
It was good.
It was good. And so when we have a bad performance, what do? We do the opposite, right? I was terrible. I'm awful. I'm not good.
Great.
But he already said from creation, everything he made, he declared, and it is good. Does God lie?
No.
No. God is true. That's so interesting.
Yeah.
So it's really taking the way we do things today and flipping it on its head.
Yeah.
Which is so interesting because like you and I have talked so many times about like in your relationship with God, like how you strive for it. And this has been my story, and still my story. You have the instinct to strive and try to perform for God's love. And all the way back in Genesis 1, he was teaching against that same principle. Mm-hmm. Right? Is that kind of what you're saying?
The gospel is being preached in Genesis 1, and we don't even...
Yeah, that's insane.
And we can go into the whole, like, even from a theological standpoint, I don't want to go there, but, like, the Trinity is mentioned twice in Genesis 1. So we have God talking about in his relationships, he creates us. He didn't create us out of need, he created us out of want. We can even go that direction.
Yeah.
But thinking through what we're doing, it's like, yeah, so then he goes, and then he says all that, and then and he makes everything. He creates this massive structure, this beautiful thing to inhabit. And they say the first 3 days he built the structure, the universe, the earth, the sun, the moon, right? And then the next 3 days he fills it with, plants, seas, animals, right? Yeah. And then he makes us.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And something's different about us. And I'm going to make them in my own image. Think about Pharaoh. Go back to Pharaoh, and they're used to seeing, they're having to build the image of something else.
Yeah.
Someone else, like this type of someone who thinks they're a deity. And here's this God of the universe who I can't see, but I made in his image. I'm his image bearer. Not some stone, not some brick that you put, but me, living.
The story reads completely different when you see it through their perspective at that time.
100%. You have to read Genesis from the Eastern Israelite
coming out of slavery.
Yeah. because that's who it was for, right? And they spent hundreds of years working and building for someone else. And God's here saying, no, you are part of me.
Your worth is not what you do, but who you are, and who you are is me. Is made is you are because you are mine. You are my creation. That's your value. That's your worth.
Which
That's your identity.
would have been totally.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
I'm a slave.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
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 That is crazy.
And inviting you into a relationship. That's why it was such a struggle for them, because they'd never really been in that type of relationship before.
Yeah.
That's why they kept saying, well, at least we knew what we were eating tomorrow. We knew what was going on tomorrow. They're back in Egypt. Maybe we should go back there.
Yeah.
It's like, God's like, I know you don't understand, but I just need you to trust me. And that's the whole message. Genesis itself is, how do you trust the story that God had you? And this is what I'm kind of calling it to. Is like, if you're listening, how do I trust the story that God had me? Because these people in the desert, if you know the story of Exodus, like, they wandered 40 years complaining and not trusting the story of God because they got the slavery mindset. Like, I got to know what's happening tomorrow. God's like, no, just trust me, because I have a land of flowing milk and honey for you. And that's not going to be easy either. But there's something about like Genesis 1, you have to take it from that perspective. There's an identity piece, but it's also like, ultimately, it's a story of creation. It's about rest, learning how to rest in who God is, who I am, who He made me to be. And at the end of the day, like, going back to what we talked about several times in this podcast, is like, do I think my effort is bigger than God's effort, and what He has done is more important? Because that's what we do. That's what we do. I have to work, grow, make a certain amount, have this title, be involved in this group to feel worthy, to feel loved, and it's like that. We're basically saying just the cross is not enough.
Yeah.
And that's what God's saying right here to His people at Genesis 1. It's like, no, you're worthy not because of what you do, but because of who made you, because of who I am, and you're mine. I mean, the first time I heard that,
Honestly, I normally have a lot to add. I have nothing.
like, the gospel is woven in from the beginning.
How do it's what I struggle with every day.
100%. It's from the very beginning. You got to think about that audience. It's like, that's what they were in infant level.
It's completely in alignment with what they're being taught back then to what we go through every single day. You got to be this. You got to, like you just said, you got to make this. You got to provide for your family. You have to hit your sales targets. You got to do all these things. You have to, and it's like, no, just be still for a second and just know who you are.
Know who you are. Trust me that I know what I'm doing more than you. Yeah. Trust the story you're in. Trust that, like, everything I'm using is for your good. That's just wild. Like, you just, like, more and more you unpack that story, and there's so many things that we could dive into Genesis 1, but I just kind of wanted to start there to kind of throw everybody out there. You have to really start reframing how you read this book, Genesis, or even the Old Testament, or even New Testament, right? One, getting in the thought of the audience. Two, it's like, all right, what is the repeated phrases? What is God really wanting in the story to point people to know? Like, to really, what is, like, the deep interwoven message that He's really trying to get out? And I think more and more you come back to, it's like, man, God is really pursuing us. He's wanting us to know something really deep and intimate about ourselves that could change our existence and how we think and how we process and how we live, right? And like and it started from Genesis 1. And that's another thing I love to teach from in Genesis 1 too, is think about, is in the effort piece too, that we forget about, is like, so many times, I mean, I live this way. It's like, man, I have to initiate the relationship with God.
Yeah.
I got to be the one that really and it's like, if I'm not living up to that, then my Christian life's a failure,
That's
or
what
I'm not. But what do we read from the beginning at Genesis 1? In the beginning, God created.
Yeah.
He started the action. He's the initiator. We could then jump all the way to John 3:16. For God so loved the world. He loves, he created. He is the subject of the sentence.
Yeah. Yeah.
We put ourselves as the subject of the sentence and forget, like, he's the one who's initiated this. He is the one who invited us into that intimate relationship that he shares with the Son and the Holy Spirit. Right?
You didn't have to.
No. He didn't do it out of need. He did it out of want. And that's where you, as believers, how do we wrap our heads around that? And so, like, when we talk about, especially in our 20s, where so much is coming to service about who the heck am I?
Yeah.
What's my purpose? What's my calling in life? What's the job where I'm going to, like, actually get excited about doing it every day, but also make a lot of money and provide for my family and do all the things I want to do, and not feel like such a loser when I find out a friend is going on a week vacation to X,
Yeah.
like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And or they're buying $1 million house down the road and I'm still stuck in an apartment.
Yeah.
Like that stuff that you feel like, man, how do I all right, and that's where God puts up from the beginning, puts up that mirror, and it's like, who do you see?
Mm-hmm.
Do you see me? Do you see me? Or do you see the slave? God just trying to grind it out, and his identity's totally wrapped up solely in what he does. In his work, and who likes him, right?
Yeah.
Who thinks he's a cool person.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that's not it. But believers, people that follow Jesus and know this deeply, are a force. They are a force to be reckoned with. We've seen it throughout history. These are the men, not the passive, not the ones who say one thing and do another, the ones that truly believe this. Yeah. They're a force to be reckoned with. Anyway. Yeah. Any other thoughts about?
No, I don't think so. I'm about to chew on that for a while.
Probably should have prepared you better a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to need about a week in a dark room by myself. One of those Aaron Rodgers dark rooms.
Shrooms.
Seriously, man, that's so cool. Yeah. Gosh. I mean, it's not. I mean, we so easily, like I do, like whenever I read the Bible, I immediately go to the New Testament because it's like I relate to this more. It kind of gives me more
to think on and
dissect. There's so much there. It just seems like you maybe have to dig a little deeper, or like do a little more research, and like you said, understanding the other perspectives and understanding the time, and that's unbelievable.
Man, here I got another one. Yeah. What you got? So if you're like Bo right now and you just need time to chew on this, and this is another thing that's really powerful about Genesis 1, is we read the Spirit, and the earth was formless and empty, and the Spirit hovered over the waters, right? We read that in the first couple of verses. Formless and void. Some people say it's formless and void. Like, what does that mean? It's like something. But what we see here is really powerful, and I think even Jordan Peterson understood this when he wrote his book, 12 Rules for War. I can't even remember the name of the book, but he talks about this a lot, and it's like, there's something, God is really great at bringing order out of chaos. That's where we originally meet God, where these people meet and really trying to, outside of the plagues in Egypt, they had a reference, but here's something like the first words, God, they really connect with is the earth was formless and void. In the beginning, God created heavens and the earth, and the earth was formless and void, and the Spirit hovered over the water. So there's a Trinity in there too. But he's hovering over, meaning like he took something that was chaotic, formless and void in a dark room, and brought order.
Mhm.
So think about your life. Think about what's going on in you. And you feel that it's chaotic. There's so much unknown. There's so much things that you can't really put together and understand in place, and you're frustrated. God is really good at bringing order to that.
Yeah.
He is not afraid of that. We live in the place. God is waiting for us. God's in a system of order, and He's waiting for us to join the system.
Yeah.
Fit in that order. It's like God lives outside the systems of man. And He sees the chaos constantly, and He loves bringing order if we're willing to partner with it. And so, anyway, and we can get into more of that, which is fascinating.
Yeah, man, unbelievable.
Yeah,
That's so good.
Dude, Genesis 1 is rich, and I hadn't gotten to half of it. I mean, there's even
like Christian life. I've just kind of written it off. Like I don't really.
in a lot of ways it doesn't.
Whoa.
But there's so much there.
There's a lot.
What it is, and I encourage all y'all, especially. I mean, I think it has been a more modern day thing where we dismiss the Old Testament. Oh, the God of the Old Testament. It's in Hebrew.
Yeah.
So the New Testament is Aramaic translated and Greek, and a lot of Western thought comes from Greek.
Yeah.
In the Greek language, we have a better translation into. So there's a little, and Paul kind of talks in ideas, more ideology and theology. You kind of track with that.
Yeah.
But you get in the Old Testament, and it's Hebrew.
Right.
And it is very much more Eastern. It's ancient Hebrew. It's not even like modern day Hebrew. It's been kind of like, and so it's like, man, and they read, and it doesn't go left to right. It goes right to left.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there's people who spend decades studying the Hebrew language and the Hebrew text and are still figuring it out. So give yourself grace.
Yeah.
But two, there's something really rich. There's something good. Because what we forget also, people out there that want to dismiss the Old Testament, what book did Jesus teach from? The Old Testament, the law and the prophets, the Torah. Oh man, this jacks me up, man, all the time. Luke, I can't always read the reference, but I think it's Luke 24. He meets the two guys on the road who are basically leaving Jerusalem. Found out that Jesus resurrected. And they're like, don't believe it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go back and get to my own place and figure it out. And they meet a stranger on the road. And he starts explaining to them the history of the Bible, the scriptures. They use the word scriptures. What are the scriptures at this point when Jesus had just been resurrected? The Old Testament. He starts explaining through the laws and the prophets of how this was being foretold, that he was going to be raised from the dead, right? This was being foretold for 39 books. And Jesus is teaching them through the scriptures, the law and the prophets. He's teaching them. And it gets to the point where they break bread and he's vanished it. And they turn to one another and go, when he was explaining the scriptures, did our hearts not burn?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, if Jesus can teach through the Old Testament, so can we. I get all teach, but Jesus explained the entire 39 books, and their heart, and they said they felt a fire inside them, an excitement. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
That's the stuff. So we gotta read those.
Yeah,
we got it. And I recommend you get a mentor, getting in a men's Bible study, somebody you trusting a pastor, getting commentaries. I'm not sitting there saying let's just blindly jump into it. Listen to podcasts. There's some great podcasts on it. I would say find a Messianic Jew. Those who don't know what that means is a Jew who believes Jesus is a savior. So basically somebody who understands Hebrew a little bit better, maybe it was, so anyway, that's kind of my Genesis 1 spiel. And I look forward to diving into that with these group of men in the fall. And also just anybody who's, wanting to hear more. Yeah. Cause this is what we'll be doing for 16 weeks this fall, starting August, the week August 10th. So I got a group starting on the 11th and a group starting on the 13th, 7 a.m.
Maybe I'll have more to say next time.
Well, I probably need to prepare you more, Bo.
Fascinating stuff. Really, man. I'm telling you, I I have to go read it now. It all builds on one another. It doesn't live isolated from one another. The New Testament is the Old Testament.
It's
The
the
Old
same
Testament
God,
is the New
man.
Testament.
We compartmentalize, I guess, two different gods.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Jesus, and then there's the
Right.
God fire of brimstone. It's like, nope.
Same thing. Same.
Yeah.
It was all
Yeah,
building to him coming. Anyway,
That's so good. Thank
yeah,
you for
man.
that.
Well, I'll prepare you better next time.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That's great.
all right. Anything else, Bill? Yeah, y'all check out the links in the show notes. Also, I've updated the website, so that's been fun. So y'all check that out. It kind of explains more of what we're doing and using this podcast for, as well as my weekly groups, and obviously the spinoff into one-on-one mentoring, because a lot of this stuff, it just has to be chewed on.
Yeah.
And there's just multiple ways. It's like, and I think what's great here working with the center is, one is, you can meet with me. I feel like I specialize in the young professional male experience, and so like it's more catered to that. But hey, we with the center, we have connections where I could, you could get mentored by a guy in his 50s and 60s that's wanting to help you work through all this.
Yeah, and I would say focus on this new content you have coming out, because it's so structured, and you like learn. It's intentional in that how Cartwright broke it out. But then also, if you want to hear some of the old stuff we've talked about, I mean, you and I've just kind of spatted on about issues that we've had, and just learning how to be a guy in your 20s and 30s and follow Jesus and still deal with the pressures and the stuff that's going on, and being married and having kids and life changing so quickly and evolving. And so, yeah, go check out some of the old episodes.
So Genesis 1 was really packed, and so that this one would be more Bible, but we're really expecting, because this is what the Bible does. It doesn't hold a mirror for our own lives so much. Our story fits in the larger story for sure. I'm really expecting that when we get into Genesis, more of our stories come out.
Yeah.
So, because they're there. And I definitely, the more I was like thinking about this, I was thinking back to a couple episodes, and I might have to try to put some of those in the show notes if I think about them.
Yeah.
Because we've hit on this topic a good bit, but it's nice to really understand this. This is the thing that's hidden.
Yeah, it's completely new. Like I'm like, I mean, it's really cool, man. Like it's almost a piece that comes with it. Then it's like, okay, yeah, you can read it now. Like
it's safe, I promise. Yeah, it's like, but a lot of people do. I mean, I've done that before. I put my,
Heck yeah.
So.
Heck yeah, man. That's cool. Really cool. I'm really excited about this. It's gonna be good.
All right. Thank y'all for listening. If you're a man in your 20s or 30s looking for a men's group Bible study to discuss and encounter stories that God uses in the book of Genesis to forge men, August 11th at 6:45 at the Center for Executive Leadership here in Birmingham. Because in my 20s, I really wish I had someone who could walk with me, give me permission to trust who God made me to be. Started this new series in the book of Genesis because I've seen God use them to forge men, including myself. And it'll help us see who we really are and who we're becoming. Find out more about what I'm doing with the Forge. If you're ready for this full experience, please go to mentorforge.com and check out the Forge program. It's a combination, a weekly group with the podcast and monthly one-on-one meetings designed exactly for men who want to grow who they are and where they're at. So hopefully see you August 11th. Today's episode is brought to you by Bravenly Hydrate. It's hot out there, and you got to stay hydrated because regular water is just not going to cut it. And the main brand sports drinks got stuff you don't need to consume. So I recommend hitting the link in the bio and checking out Bravenly Hydrate. Lemon lime's my favorite flavor, but I recommend checking out more of Bravenly products. It's really great stuff for your health and well-being. So hit the link in the bio to find out more about Bravenly products.